Today's episode will be shared amongst three different conversations, all with performers from the film American Underdog. Our first guest is Vishy Ayyar, the creator and producer and star. And then we will be joined at the 19-minute mark with Suleka Mathew, and then around the 29-minute mark, Andrew Gray, all performers in the film American Underdog, and all who have a lot to share about the world of acting, as well as some insights into just life as it is. So, without further ado, guys, welcome to episode 6 of Breaking Indie. Please enjoy. This podcast is brought to you by brwdigital.com, a video production company based in Santa Fe, servicing the needs of businesses and content creators worldwide. brwdigital.com. It's a program for filmmakers by filmmakers. It's the Breaking Indie Podcast.
Here we are at the Breaking Indie studio, again introducing a really cool interview that we had at the Santa Fe Film Festival. Again, our mobile setup, bear with us on the quality, but this conversation was really cool because it was with the main writer, creator, and star of American Underdog, which we've had other interviews about. But his whole process was really interesting. He is an Indian American, and the film itself he really identified with because he felt like an underdog, and he feels very, American in his immigration to America and in his story. But also he really wanted to be the first kind of like Indian action hero. And so we talked to him about kind of how that played into this film.
And I think also his coming into the film industry from real estate.
Right,
like
exactly.
Kind of his introduction into that. But yeah, a very personal film from Vishy and a really fantastic interview.
Vishy Ayyar. Let's check it out. Hello again. Another episode, or perhaps a joint episode, of Breaking Indie, a podcast for filmmakers by filmmakers about independent film. We are once again at the Santa Fe Film Festival, and we are joined by the writer and lead actor, American Underdog.
How fantastic is that?
Can you introduce yourself for us?
Hi guys, thanks for having me on your show. My name is Vishy Ayyar. I've been a lone warrior with this project for over 10 years.
Wow. Love that.
I wrote this story 10 years ago. It came in a dream because I built a $50 million business and I lost it
It's heartbreaking.
in 2008. And when I lost it, it was, I felt like I was in a ring just getting punched because I lost some very close friends' money with some friends with very deep pockets. And I made the mistake, during the real estate crash of 2008, which was worse than the stock market crash of 1929.
Yeah.
Then I felt like I was just in the ring, just battling. And I also felt like I deserved it. I messed up. So since that time, I've been seeking redemption.
I see.
And then since I was seeking redemption, from 2008 to 2011. So once that happened, I told my wife, I was always an actor. And I got into real estate business so that I don't want to be a struggling actor.
Yeah, we know how that feels.
I went to grad school, I have a master's in computer science. I was a software engineer, so I'll survive. I won't struggle. Always knew that. But I always, acting bug, growing up, I always did theater. Then I did French theater. And when I came here, I had a sort of spiritual experience in America. I came to do a PhD in genetics. And then once I had a spiritual experience, I was like, the experience was sort of a revelation that I should be this bridge between the East and the West. And my destiny is in front of the screen and bringing high quality content into Hollywood. And so I was like, wow, that's nuts. I come from a family of nerds on steroids. I did acting, but not as a profession, right? It's a whole new ballgame. We know that.
Yeah, sure.
But then I knew the experience was true, and since then I was been on this path. That's why I got into real estate. I thought then it sank me, and I told my wife I need to move to Hollywood. I'm based in San Diego. Moved to Hollywood, start looking for pots. That's what I want to do. And my wife said, no, you're looking for redemption. Why don't you? How I met my wife and how I manifested my wife through certain meditation techniques, that story came in the media. And people started asking me about that. And I was like,
Did you say it came to you to dream? I know the
in the
story.
media.
Oh,
In the media.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
how there are certain yoga meditation techniques you can practice to manifest what you want.
Right.
And I practiced that, and you can manifest an ideal mate. And I did.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
And because I'm from one of the first yoga families of India. So I'm trained in the yogic techniques of manifestation, what I want, and I can manifest.
Yeah. There's
That's
so
how I
many layers.
manifest.
So many layers.
Yeah.
You are a complex, delicious onion, my friend.
Yes. So before, soon we'll keep it to film.
But yeah,
And,
so you went to Hollywood, started auditioning. What was the
No, I
process
went
like?
and wrote a book for 3 years. Then
Okay.
in 2014, I got the dream for an underdog story of a man looking for redemption, seeking redemption. And I took MMA, which is the most brutal sport, because we all are going through this inner war. We all are in the ring. Some people just know, and some people just don't know. We are getting punched every day.
Yeah.
We are trying to achieve something, and we're getting punched. It's just getting us down, and we're just getting up bruised. So everybody's an underdog in a ring. So I took the metaphor and started developing American Underdog. And then 2016, I met Naveen, who's the reason this whole project happened. And Naveen is credited to launching Chris Hemsworth 13 years ago.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
And he's the one launching me in this movie. And,
fantastic.
And nobody sort of wanted Chris at the time, and Naveen saw something in him, and he cast him next with Sean Bean in a movie called Cash. And the rushes from Cash is how they cast him in Thor.
No way.
Oh yeah.
Wow. That's fantastic.
And you can go to Naveen's IMDb page and see Chris's first audition and all the.
Oh wow.
That's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
That's great.
So Naveen, when I shared the story of this guy looking for redemption, and the redemption always comes from the most unlikely of places, for everybody, the place where you don't want to go. And I said, that's the conflict this guy's got, that fighting, and he's seeking redemption. And I didn't even complete my sentence. He said, "Vish, that story is going to work. It's so good."
Did you have other films that you drew inspiration from?
Just very little, I saw Rocky, but I knew that this was my personal story because it happened
exactly.
to me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I didn't need to go look for content except the technicalities or the palette or the narrative. But the core message, I am the source.
Yeah.
It happened to me.
Just listening to it, man, it's so relatable.
Yeah.
I think we've all been there, right?
Yes.
Like just, especially this day and age.
Yeah.
It feels like you just take
Yeah.
a beating and a beating. And
Yeah.
at some point you get
the
up
film
and you
we
say,
all need.
well,
Everybody's
how do
an
I
underdog.
change this for myself? you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that's really inspirational. Really,
Yes,
too.
yes.
So you championed this film for 10 years.
Yes.
Where did you start to then finally get your breakthrough, where you find the momentum, where you say, I'm just battling uphill,
Yeah.
where you finally start to say,
Yes.
oh, this is happening. What was
Yes.
that like for you?
So once I started Naveen's in-house writer took the first shot. He spent 2 years writing this first few drafts of the script. And because both Naveen and I were very sure about, unless the product is of the highest quality, we are not doing it, because this is sort of my launch. So we want to come in with a bang, something with a message, which can change the narrative, right?
Yeah.
For a person of my ethnicity, right?
Yeah,
So it's a
sure.
big deal, and
Well, it's a great time.
yes, a great
right?
time,
Yes,
exactly.
absolutely.
And that's probably why it took that long. Maybe the universe is waiting
Yeah.
for the right time.
Perhaps that is true.
Yeah, yes. And then when Naveen was directing his movie, Last Victim, with Ron Perlman, Ali Lauder, that's when he invited Gustavo to be his AD.
Okay. Okay.
And then Gustavo was sort of interning under Naveen. And Naveen said, hey man, I think I found the director.
That's
he called me
cool.
one day and he said, I was like, for Underdog? I was like, because initially we were looking at experienced directors. And because I'm sort of a first time launch, and we always knew we needed to surround my character with well-known Hollywood actors and Indian actors.
Sure.
We were very adamant about that. Then I signed on with a new manager back in 2018, and like everybody in LA working on a script, right? It's
Yeah.
for 20 years, right?
Yep.
Not to discourage anyone.
Exactly.
You know.
The true ones, yes, go for it, right?
Development hell is what we call it.
Development hell.
Are you willing to spend 10
Yeah.
years on a project?
Yeah. Then Christy she signed me on. She's sending me on auditions. Then I told her, Christy, I'm working on a story for myself, a launch. And she's like, LA, right? Everybody's working on.
Right.
Then Gustavo comes on board, and he's spending couple years writing Underdog, rewrite. Gustavo and Matt, and he's gotten it to a point where it's pretty cool, pretty good, and we are winning awards in screenwriting quarterfinals. We're not winning award, but quarterfinals. So we know that we submitted to Slated as a platform, and it scored over 76. And so when you score 76 on Slated, we know that it's is the deal, right? And then that's when we know that we have a quality script. And I sent the script to Christy, my manager. She called me immediately. This is so good. I'm putting money into this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so then actually, well, that's a great question. Did you guys go in the financing world? Obviously, you come from a business background. You probably are already pretty savvy in that. But how did you kind of have an approach of like how to go about getting investment for that?
Yes. I'll tell you. I'm an experienced entrepreneur. I know, I'm a real estate investor and a fairly well-known real estate investor. But none of my real estate investors would wanted to invest. It's like, Vish, what's the return? What's the guarantee?
Yeah, film is a scary investment for a lot of people.
Since I cannot give a logical explanation of how they're going to recover the money,
Right, exactly.
my entire real estate Rolodex, no go.
Yeah.
They laugh at me. So I didn't even tell them that I'm in the movies.
Right.
So this had to come from media, movie people who are just as crazy as I am, or crazier.
We love those people.
We love them.
We need those
We love them. We need more.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. And Christy ended up putting hundreds of thousands of bucks into the film, and then Naveen's credibility, because he's launching Chris and launched other new talent, sold a couple of shows to Netflix, sold his film to Hulu, and then another set of women entrepreneurs from Seattle, and they funded most of the.
Oh wow.
And it's very rare to see women funding an MMA movie.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that is surprising.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Even better.
And then Naveen invited the same casting director who helped him cast Cash, the one with Chris. And she's like, oh yeah, let's. So we went on a couple of other top stars, and schedule didn't work, whatever. Then we're like, let's go to Danny.
Yeah.
And Danny was like, wow, I love it.
Yeah,
this is
Gustavo
great.
was talking to us about that.
And then Veronica came on board, and then Taylor.
Right.
And then Andrew, who's the Power Rangers, the Red Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Oh sweet.
So, I mean, talk to me, because, you were saying earlier, and Gustavo said as much, this really interesting fusion of Latino and Indian. It's really, really cool. I mean, you were saying, the poster of diversity or something.
Yeah, it's a poster child for diversity, because when I made up my mind to be in the movies, I wanted to be the first Indian lead guy in Hollywood, period. Okay, hey, you're considering Jason Statham, you're considering Denzel, and The Rock, why not me? I always ask that question to myself, and I would ask that wherever I went in Hollywood. They're like, oh, Vish, we love your look, and we want to give you a convenience store clerk. This happened to me a couple of times. Then I had to tell one guy, and I say, hey, man, and I'm working
There's
on
more to me than that.
Right. I told one producer, and I said, hey, man, I'm working on a Rocky-type script, and I can fight like Jason Statham, plus I'm bigger than him. Right?
Yeah.
Then he just looked at me. He's like, "Oh, okay, all right."
It's funny. You meet some of these action heroes in real life, and you're like,
And nothing against any actors. The point is, everybody needs to be, it's an equal footage, right? It's an equal footing, and we need equal opportunity. And
Absolutely.
And I want to break
show
that.
more and more.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
what? And I know that we have only a limited time with you. So as I really want to give you the opportunity. Is there anything that like you're trying to get out into the world right now, or you're big on manifesting? Can we just give you the floor? Is there anything you want to just share with us?
The one thing I would say, the whole thing about manifestation, if you hold on to a dynamic thought in your consciousness for a certain period of time, that thought will manifest. It's a law of karma. It's the law of the universe. So those who give up have just not either held on to the thought long enough. It's not percolated into their consciousness yet. I give talks on manifestation. And then there are certain energetic yoga practices you can do, breathing and living right. And it's a process, just like you want to get bigger, build muscles, and you can't keep eating pizza every night and carbs and expect to build muscles, right? So the same way yoga is a process. It's a self-transformation process. So once you go through the process, then you connect with the cosmic source. which we all are part of. And at that point, whatever you think will manifest for your highest good.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's what I want to share. And I also want to share that everybody is an underdog.
Yeah.
Everybody on this planet is an underdog. And America is one place which supports an underdog, because every person who comes into the United States is an underdog. And America is the greatest country on the planet, which gives you repeated opportunities to fail and build yourself back. Fail and build yourself back. That's why I named the movie American Underdog. And no matter what happened, I said, I am not changing the title because it's my tribute to America.
I love that.
Guys, can we not all just relate to that? Right? But hey, what a valuable lesson, and honestly, what an inspiration. We've learned a lot of insight, and just like super grateful about that.
Vishy, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing, guys. It's American Underdog. Check it out if you get the opportunity. And remember, we are all underdogs, and we are doing the things like listening to this podcast or watching this podcast. You're informing your passion. So guys,
so you can go out there and manifest.
You for doing what you're doing. Stick with it. Manifest your dreams. Let's keep living them. Thank you so much for your time.
Awesome.
Appreciate you.
Thank you so much, man. That was an awesome interview, probably.
I don't know. We're going to copy and paste this to each one. So I think they're all pretty good, though, right? I feel good about it.
They're all great. They better be. Some you might like more than others, but if you really liked this one with, we'll just maybe insert the name.
We need AI to do
I'll just,
all the names.
This interview with
Vishy AI
was really awesome about
the triumphant rise from underdog to champion and manifesting your passion from a dynamic thought.
So we hoped you enjoyed it. And if you did enjoy it, please like, subscribe, but also leave a comment maybe about your process with a similar context as a filmmaker, as anyone involved in the filmmaking process. We want to hear from you. We also want to hear maybe more of what you want to hear about. So different conversations.
If you're in the entertainment industry,
please
or
hire
filmmaker,
us.
Please hire us. Also, please feel free to reach out if you want to be part of the conversation. It's an open invitation, not for everybody, but if you're cool enough or...
it's an open invitation that's exclusive.
Yeah.
This episode is sponsored in part by Santa Fe Improv, an educational nonprofit based locally here in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Yes, and...
Santa Fe Improv has classes for adults and at their Black Box Theater, educating players at all levels of the craft of comedy improv.
Yes, and...
And they put on shows regularly that you don't want to miss. So visit santafeimprov.org to get the latest updates on shows, classes, and community events.
Yes.
santafeimprov.org.
And now, part 2 with actress Suleka Mathew.
Hey guys, welcome to the Breaking Indie Studio. I'm Cole, this is Brendan. Once again, another interview from the Santa Fe Film Festival coming at you. Our mobile setup, bear with us quality-wise, but we just preface that every time. But this is with Suleka Mathew, another star of the film American Underdog. And this was a cool interview. Again, an actress who is kind of talking about her whole journey, but also like her transition into acting from, other careers and, kind of how she got her start and where she sees herself going from now. So excited. Check it out.
This one got cut a little short, so it's probably one of our shorter interviews.
Yeah, that's right.
But it is also super informative and pretty fun.
No, it's shorter, so you don't have to watch
it.
it.
Yeah, short and sweet. Let's do it. Hi guys, welcome to another awesome episode of Breaking Indie. Again, we're back here at the Santa Fe Film Festival all week long, and today we are talking to the whole cast, crew, and filmmakers of American Underdog. We are so excited.
And we are here with Suleka Mathew. Please, we would love to talk to you about your role in the film, but also just like your career in general, because this is a podcast for all different types of people in the film industry, actors, writers, etc. So we love to just get in deep about like what the process was like getting on this film, what the process has been like in your career, things like that. We don't have a ton of time, but we want to just dive in as much as we can. So let's just start with American Underdog. Yeah. Talk to us a little bit about your role in this film.
I played Vish's sister. You met Vish, right?
Yes.
He plays Jay. He's disenfranchised from the family, and I am the bridge between that life and his new life. I'm not willing to let him go, even if, my mother is.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So talk to us a little bit about like and this is something we like to ask everybody on the show, is kind of you're breaking into the industry. Like how did things kind of come about? How did things start for you as an actress?
I've been acting since I was 10 years old, in school, in class, in like, making up shit and getting on with it. Then, when I was in university, I didn't take any acting classes and I was kind of brokenhearted. And I ran into a girlfriend of mine and said, you really need to start studying again. And here's the card of the person you should study with. And so I started studying with Peter Bragg.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then I think 6 months later I got an agent, and 6 months after that I got my first job.
That's fantastic.
And I'm a TV kid. Like I grew up watching a lot of TV. I didn't go to the movies as much. So I don't know. You guys can tell me this. I feel like there's a specific calling. Like some people get called to the theater, some people get called to television, some people get called to do their own work. I wasn't called to do my own work. And because I did a lot of theater, I thought, oh, I'm going to be in theater. But no, like I started, my first job was in television, and that's the way it went for the most part. So doing independent films is wonderful and a departure from my bread and butter. But how did you guys, like what called you?
Well, it's interesting you say about the calling, because I think that part of succeeding, not even necessarily in an external sense, but from an internal place of like, I feel like I'm succeeding, is really aligning with that calling. So for example, I'm kind of the opposite. I very much thought of myself as an actor's actor. That's what I'm going to do. Writing and all these kinds of things were secondary to that. And that was, and film, big blockbuster films, like that's of course, right? But very quickly, I realized I had a big passion for the storytelling process from the perspective of giving the story, the characters what to say, putting them in.
This is so enviable.
Putting them into it is, and
I also think at the flip side too is that's also where you get the heartbreak.
Yeah.
Is where you're like, God, I really want to do this thing. Like for me, I've always just really wanted to make my feature film debut or whatever. And then the more you don't do that, the harder you are on yourself. And the more like this film, the more you feel like an underdog, the more you feel like you're fighting against the world. Why can't I just do the things that I want to do? So what I admire about your approach is like, you kind of give up the feeling of needing to control things and you say, what will be will come. I'm actually kind of jealous of you because I think there's a lot of liberty in that approach.
Sure, but I've been at it a long time, so I probably am coming with oh boy, here we go. You're 30, let's go. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it takes a long time to get to that, and sometimes the path ahead might be stepping off the path. Like it's the staying present and staying in alignment with what presents. So I admire you guys for hearing the call, heeding the call, but you also have to go, am I being true to it? But am I also being true to me?
So what do you like to do outside of the industry?
A lot of things. A lot of things. And I think that's because we're actors are, what's the word for it? Interpretive artists. Like I don't write. Yes, I've done some improv in my life or whatever. Like we do come up with the lines occasionally, but I don't really have a story in me. I love the fact that Vish has written a story, committed to the story, tells the story, and encourages everyone to do so. But I will be the first to say, no stories. So then it puts you in a position of being kind of, in some senses, waiting to be picked, right? Like you're on the baseball team and you're waiting to be picked. So that's kind of a vulnerable thing. But the thing about acting that's hard to explain, or you guys would understand, which is it's in its purest, truest sense, it's pursuing whatever art calls you is kind of, for lack of a better word, kind of a holy little journey. So you have to fill your life up when it's not sustaining you with everything else.
Sure.
You know, everything else, and it probably makes you a better artist.
Sure. I mean, you're being a human. I mean, like that's so. Like, if you don't have life experience, you know, how can anyone be expected for you to take on the life experience of this other person if you can't, juxtapose that with the things that you've done?
A lot of people who go to acting schools or theater schools, they're told to come back when you have a little more life in you. And I think that there's some truth to that. It doesn't mean that young people shouldn't be represented.
Of course.
Right? But I'm also saying it takes a long time to be full, as, in that Stanislavski kind of way.
Yeah, and everyone has their own time, their own journey, like some people are maybe jumping into success or get lucky at certain times. Everyone really has their own journey.
Well, when I was in my late 20s, I remember just kind of freaking out, like, oh my God, what is this?
Right.
And Veena Sood, who is one of my favorite actors to this day, like we work together, we've been friends for forever. She just looked at me and she said, well, you can stand there with your hands on your hips and go, I could have done that. Or you will realize, like, your race, you're the only one in your race. You are not in competition with anyone else. And I think that those wise words brought me some measure of peace, and I have to remind myself about that all the time. Like, that doesn't go away.
Yeah.
And those are wise words. Yeah.
But the reminder, you could, because you have certain days.
We all know.
You get told no, and you just like.
Or you just don't get told anything, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the self-tape.
This is a misconception about acting. They say you get a lot of rejection, you get told no a lot.
You get a lot of
That's
ghosting.
not quite true, right? At least for me, I just don't get told anything. You're just not told you don't get the part. They don't
Just
say
like Red
no.
Small over
Yeah, you just
self-tape.
sit there for weeks waiting, and you go, well, enough times now. I'm not good.
I used to, all my friends who are not in the industry, they go, so what, did you hear? And I went, I don't know, it's year 14. We never hear.
Yeah.
Right? They're not going to call you, go, oh, hey, you didn't get the part.
Yeah.
They just can't break your heart that way, right? So it's just cone of silence.
Well, hey, thank you so much for your time today, and I appreciate you sharing your spirit, your words, and that was fun.
That was
It a good
great.
time,
Thank you so
guys.
much for your work.
Best of luck, guys, on the path.
You as well.
We'll be passing fast. We'll be at your premiere tonight.
Okay,
and,
great.
yeah, we look forward to seeing it.
I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
And you guys should watch
All
it too.
right.
American Underdog. All right, guys. Thank you for being here on Breaking Indie. Always like, subscribe, all the things. I'll see you next time. And now, part 3 with actor Andrew Gray. Hey guys, welcome to the Breaking Indie studio. I'm Brendan, this is Cole, and we are here to introduce a really awesome interview taken from the Santa Fe Film Festival with Andrew Gray. He is a former Power Ranger, he is one of the cast members of American Underdog, and had some pretty interesting insights.
Yeah, I mean, I think really he plays the antagonist of the film, and talking about how even when you are perceived as the villain of a film, you really have to put yourself there. You really have to make this person identifiable, relatable. So it's really interesting how you can't think of yourself as the villain while playing the villain, of course. But I think his insights about that was really cool. And he talks a little bit too about, his spirituality and kind of his, overarching mentality when it comes to being an artist.
Yeah, his personal journey in the film industry. So check it out.
Hey guys, welcome to the Breaking Indie Podcast, a podcast for filmmakers by filmmakers about all things film. We are sitting here with Andrew Gray, another one of the stars of American Underdog. What's up? We're here at the Santa Fe Film Festival, the US premiere. So yeah, introduce yourself, talk to us a little bit about your role in the film.
Absolutely. So my name is Andrew Gray, as you just said, and I'm really excited to promote this film and be a part of the film. I mean, it's based on true events, and Vish is more than a warrior. He's just a good friend of mine, an advisor, an amazing husband, an amazing father, and everything that he touches turns to gold. So, hey, to be a part of this is a win-win situation, and having you guys here is a win-win-win situation. Hey, I'm freaking stoked if you can't believe it.
We're all winning.
Yay!
Yeah, sweet. So are you based in LA, or where are you coming from?
I'm coming from Northern California, originally up there. I circled my way back home. I did live in Los Angeles about 10 years. Loved it, but I had a change of environment. We need that for growth. I moved to Vegas with my family, and then moved back up north, and I feel more at home than ever.
Where in Northern California?
I'm in a place called Camino. It's just below Placerville that was established in 1849, and then it's in between Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
So, man, I'm in a prime, lush environment.
It's a beautiful place. I'm familiar.
Love it, love it.
So yeah, talk to us a little bit about your role in the film, the process.
Absolutely. So my character's name is Marcus. You see me in the very beginning of the film. You see me throughout the film. I wouldn't say that I'm a villain because you haven't heard my side of the story yet.
I love that.
Right?
I love that.
There's always two sides of the story, and they're like, "Oh man, how was it like to play a villain?" I was like, "Hey, if I got to be a hero in my life to be a villain in his life, I'll be the hero in my life." So that's how I see it. And he was on his comeuppance, and Marcus is a very relatable character to me and how I built his backstory, because everybody's been lied to in their life. Everybody's been betrayed. Everybody's had things promised by agents, managers, by even coaches, and it hasn't been fulfilled to whatever degree that is. And this person is trying to rebuild his life, and Jay is just in the way. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I'm in the way of what he wants to come back to. So it's completely understandable, and I think that's why it's the American Underdog story. Who's it really for?
Right.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
So this is a moment of being on a high for you as an actor.
Oh yeah.
But I know as actors, it's not always a straight shot out of the gate. How did you get into the industry?
How did I get into the industry? Well, I was pushed into it and massaged into it by my grandmother, who said, "You know, you have something.
Cool.
You're always doing stand-up comedy." I used to love Jim Carrey, still do, and In Living Color was my jam.
Cheers.
Thanks, Mom, for Saturday nights allowing me to stay up and watch that. Right? Fire Marshal Bill.
I
So-
can still quote Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura verbatim, like all the way through.
Hungry fella? There you go. So I would just
doing Jim Carrey's all festival.
Oh my gosh, I would still love to meet him. Lord, make it happen. And obviously, where he's also gone in his career, in his understanding of the world, to me, is hook, line, and sinker. I wanted to get into this because I wanted to do something noble. And then it got into high school where I said, you know, I'm a nerd. I'm in chess club. I like theater, I like biology, and I want to be cool. I want to make money. I want fame. I want awards. And that got me to a really dark place very, 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 very fast. So I started traveling the world. I lost myself. I found myself, came back to LA. The rest is history. Started working like a wild man, and now I'm producing. I have multiple shows in the pipeline, and it's just been an amazing experience. What a journey. We're all on different journeys, and it's taken me a long time to kind of zoom out and understand that I've been on so many, and now it's completely full circle at 37, and man, it's still just like life is just getting started, it feels like. It's great.
Yeah, man, I feel you. We're the same age, got the same vibes. Like,
You
I
know?
love that. I love that. That's so cool.
Well, you know, you have health journeys, you have spiritual journeys, you have relationship journeys, you have career journeys. You're like, do I want to quit? You know, all these things that happen along the way. So there's the refusals to the call. The only thing that's kept me going is the man upstairs. I used to think of myself as like a bigger than life character, you know, with a God complex. But now me, him, everything.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and that speaks to this idea, especially in this industry. I think it's so easy to fall prey to this idea of like me. You know, like I'm in it because I want to be famous, I want to be a celebrity, I want to be the next Brad Pitt, you know, whatever.
Validation, whatever it is.
Yeah, validation. And I mean, I think a lot of us, especially actors, come to this because initially we have a joy for it, a passion for it, storytelling, but then the applause starts to happen, and then very quickly, you know, we can just go down
Our
that
egos
route.
get inflated.
Yeah.
Hey, it feels good, you know.
It feels
but
great.
But it leads to holding on to things that don't serve us in the present, and it takes us away from our greatness. You know, the only way to greatness is through blood, sweat, toil, and tears, and most of those tears are through growing pains, and that's what, when you're with ego, you don't want to accept that. So I apply that to my characters now, to all my characters, and what I'm doing in the future, and it just serves.
Cool. So you got a couple projects in the pipeline, or are you able to talk about what's next? Like,
Yeah, I could talk about a couple of them. One is called, well, I modeled for 10 years. I did everything from Halloween costumes from like Disney, where I was Eeyore and Winnie the Pooh, right? To I did Dior, Gucci, walked for Valentino, Paul Gaultier, and did all that work. Which then led me to saying, hey, I want to start teaching and coaching people into doing this. Basically, give them some mentorship, because without the proper mentorship, you're going to get lost. Things are going to happen. You're going to see and be a part of things. And unfortunately, I've been drugged in this industry 3 different times, and it's allowed me to really zoom out, but also zoom back in to say, no, there needs to be some guidance. There isn't. Managers and agents aren't there to guide you. They're there to either collect checks, bring checks in, or ride the coattails. They're in it for themselves. You ever look at a contract and it's all for them? So when I sit down now, I'm like, what's your position in this? Is it for we, is it for you, or is it for I? What is it? What's your position in this? A lot of them don't know how to respond to that, and that's on them. But for me, I started a company called the Superhero You, which helps cultivate empathy, master communication, and elevate your journey, aka lead with impact. So that's been a huge part of my life, and we have a podcast as well. We're on episode 3.
Sweet.
But we've been
Sweet. We'll have to cross promote, guys.
Yes, please.
That's a big part of it too, right? It's like
Collaboration.
one hand washes the other, you know?
And work with other people that are, I would say obsessed is a kind of a toxic word, but people who are absolutely in love with what they do, and they wake up with a smile on their face saying, I don't have to do this, acting, production, whatever it is. I get to do this in his blue skies, baby. Got the move from the movie Gold. Matthew McConaughey's like, oh,
Bro,
yeah, blue skies.
funny story about that.
The good one.
So real quick funny story about the movie Gold. I got a phone call at 10 p.m. on a Friday night, and they said, do you have a passport? And I said, yes. And this is for the movie Gold. They said, can you take a box of film from Kodak? This is when I lived in LA. Can you go pick up a box of film at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, get on a plane, and fly to Thailand, and take them a box of film to Thailand?
Oh,
I was like, yes.
that's
I
a
got it."
request?
So I got a free ticket, and I got to spend 24 hours in Thailand for the movie Gold.
Wow.
And then I was there, and it blew my mind, like, because I traveled there, and I go through customs, and they're like, well, where are you staying? I was like, I don't know. I'm kind of looking at me like, this guy's gonna get murdered. And I was like, no,
Why do you have all this film?
I
don't know.
I'm like sweating with all this film, right? And
How long are you here? I don't know.
I know, right? And like, my one job was make sure it doesn't get x-rayed, and I had to go through South Korea, and they like wanted to x-ray the film, and I was like, don't do that. And they're like, you need a permit to bring film, and I was like, I don't know, like, just don't.
That is an
X-ray
episode
film.
of Curb Your Enthusiasm right there of Larry.
And then, dude, take this one step further. So I'm in a movie called The Guest, which came out back in like, I don't know, 2012, Dan Stevens, great movie.
Right on,
I
congrats.
get into Thailand, I land, and I get to my hotel about 2 a.m, and I turn on the TV because I'm like, wide awake, jet lag, whatever. My scene is on TV. It blew my mind, dude. I was like, oh my God, I've made it, or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I just got a trip to Thailand.
Electric Mother.
I come all the way here, and I turn on the TV, boom. Like, but yeah, man, it's those little blessings, right?
Keep the momentum going, though. Those are all signs that you're on the right path. So just keep going on the guys. And if you ever come up to Northern California, or if you guys like to do a podcast where it's not in person, I do both. Love to have you guys. We'll have to switch
What's
communication.
the name of your podcast? One more time.
The Superhero You. Be the superhero in your life and not the villain.
All right, and another shout out to American Underdog. Thank you guys. Watch the movie Gold if you like. It's such a pleasure talking with you. Thank you so much.
American
for your time,
Underdog. Look out for it at all screens and all streaming platforms and everywhere else that you watch movies. My name's Andrew Gray. You guys have a great day.
Awesome. See you guys. Well, thank you guys for watching. Again, this is the Breaking Indie podcast. You know all the things, the likes, the subscribes, whatever, all that shit. More importantly, if you learned something, talk about it. Leave it in the comments below, or maybe you can share with us some of the things you'd like to learn more about, because we want to conduct more of these interviews, and we can't do it without your support. So,
Or just troll us. I mean, you can just leave hateful comments.
yeah, we'll delete them, but I'll read them.
No, we won't.
We'll see.
Well, it depends on how hateful they are. But.
All right, well, try it out. Let's see where we go. It's a program for filmmakers by filmmakers. It's the Breaking Indie podcast.